Hello and welcome back to TFI Global. Breaking news from the Donbas front, a stunning development that could reshape the entire course of the Russia-Ukraine war. Reports from the battlefield indicate that Ukrainian troops have begun surrendering en masse in the key frontline towns of Pokrovsk, known to Ukrainians as Krasnoarmeysk, Dimitrov or Myrnograd. Russian forces, backed by units of the Center Battle Group, have reportedly completed a massive encirclement operation, trapping thousands of Ukrainian soldiers. The development, confirmed by Denis Pushilin, leader of the Donetsk People's Republic, marks what analysts call a potential turning point in the war. Krasnoarmeysk and Dimitrov, located about 66 kilometers northwest of Donetsk city, have long served as crucial defensive strongholds for Kyiv's army. For years, they functioned as logistical hubs, supplying ammunition, reinforcements and fuel to Ukraine's embattled forces across the Donbas. But in late October 2025, Russian forces launched a meticulously planned pincer movement, cutting off every major escape and resupply corridor. By early November, the trap had snapped shut. Pushilin announced that Ukrainian troops, outnumbered, outgunned and exhausted, were now beginning to surrender. He praised Russian forces for executing the encirclement professionally and precisely, despite multiple Ukrainian counterattacks that failed to break the siege. The Russian Ministry of Defense confirmed these claims, stating that over 275 Ukrainian soldiers were neutralized in just 24 hours, along with tanks, armored vehicles and artillery destroyed during the operation. The most intense fighting has centered around Krasnoarmeyk's Dinas micro-district, where Russian assault units claim to control over 95% of the area. Nearby in Dimitrov's industrial sector, fierce clashes continue as Russian troops push deeper into what remains of Ukrainian resistance pockets. Ukrainian forces launched as many as 13 counter-offensives in a single day, attempting to reopen supply lines from nearby villages like Grishino. The last viable evacuation route, a narrow road towards Dimitrov, was sealed off on November 8, leaving the trapped Ukrainian brigades with nowhere to go. Aide Igor Kimakovsky told the media bluntly, "The enemy can no longer leave Krasnoarmeysk. The last route is under full fire control." Captured Ukrainian soldiers have begun to tell their side of the story, and it paints a grim picture. In a video released by Russia's defense ministry, a Ukrainian soldier from the 68th Jaeger Brigade described chaos and betrayal. He said, "The commander had abandoned us long ago. There was no point in resisting. We were left with old men to hold the line." Another prisoner revealed devastating losses and failed counter-offensives. "Going to Pokrovsk is impossible. It's easier to surrender," he said, claiming that Ukrainian drones even targeted their own retreating units by mistake. For many, the fight had become futile. Some troops reportedly surrendered voluntarily, while others were captured after running out of ammunition and food. Leaflets dropped from drones instructed Ukrainian soldiers on how to surrender safely, and according to Russian sources, hundreds of them did exactly that. The mass surrenders have reportedly sent shockwaves through Kyiv's leadership. President Volodymyr Zelensky, who just days ago vowed to hold the Donbas at any cost, now faces one of his gravest military humiliations since the fall of Avdiivka. Anonymous Ukrainian officials admit that conditions are extremely difficult, not only in Pokrovsk but also in Kupiansk, where Russian advances threaten to collapse another section of the front. Western analysts say morale is crumbling as ammunition shortages, exhausted brigades and delayed Western aid converge into a perfect storm. Some reports even suggest that Zelensky has been briefed directly on the situation, but remains stunned by the scale of the defeat. Meanwhile, in Moscow, President Vladimir Putin hailed the development as a major strategic win. In a televised address on November 10, he claimed the successful encirclement had crippled Ukraine's logistics in Donbas and brought Russia closer to achieving complete control of the region. Analysts like geopolitical commentator Alexander Mercouris suggest this could be one of the biggest Ukrainian defeats since Bakhmut. a disaster that may open the way for Russian advances towards Dnipropetrovsk and the central regions. With 95% control of Pokrovsk and Dimitrov fully surrounded, Russian troops appear poised to secure total victory in the pocket within days. If confirmed, the fall of Pokrovsk and Dimitrov would mark a tipping point in the war's eastern theater. For Ukraine, losing these twin cities means losing not just only land, but logistics, mobility, and morale. The Donbas front could unravel rapidly, exposing critical flanks and forcing Kyiv to divert reserves from other sectors. Over the past week, Russian tallies claim over 1,000 Ukrainian casualties, with hundreds more surrendering as isolated pockets run out of supplies. The psychological blow is immense for soldiers on the ground and the leadership in Kyiv alike. Fog, rain, and drone strikes now dominate the battlefield, with reports of scattered Ukrainian elements trying to slip away under the cover of night. Yet for most, the cauldron, as Russian commanders call it, remains sealed tight. As the world watches, the Donbas front stands on the edge of a decisive shift. For Russia, it's a moment of triumph, but for Ukraine, a moment of reckoning. Will Kyiv manage to regroup and counterattack, or is it the beginning of a broader collapse in the east? Only the days ahead will tell. Thanks for watching.